Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about something that I've been going through recently that I feel relates so much to everything I talk about on this channel. It's a very different topic, so I'm not going to be talking directly about DPDR anxiety today, but I do want to talk about something that the recovery process of this particular topic, in my opinion, looks exactly the same as a recovery process of going through anything in life, like DPDR, for example. So, what I talk a lot about on this channel when it comes to overcoming DPDR is the practice of acceptance. And acceptance means that basically, when you're experiencing derealization, depersonalization, and life feels so like weird and overwhelming that we keep fighting it, we keep giving our brain the task to fix something that is wrong. Therefore, our brain will keep focusing on it. It's like when you get hyperfixated about anything about yourself, like maybe your finger is too large or whatever, you're constantly going to be seeing your finger, you're constantly going to be looking at it, because you're giving your brain the task to fix something that is wrong. However, in certain cases, we can't always fix something. And so what we end up doing is making the problem worse because we get so fixated on it that we keep noticing it more and more. And the question I always ask is, how often do you feel your foot during the day? You never feel your foot. And it's not because your foot is not there. It's just that you are not focused on it at all. You are not aware of it being there because you don't care about your foot. It's just a foot. It's like, why would I think about my foot? It's just there, right? But when it comes to DPDR, basically we create this hypervigilance around every single thing that we see, that we experience, that we feel. And that's why everything starts feeling weird, is because we're giving our brain this focus point of something is wrong and we have to fix it. But because you can't fix it, you just keep hyperfixating on this thing, which actually makes it a lot more present, a lot stronger in most cases. And so the story of what I've been going through relates to this 100%. And I guess I'll just explain what I've been going through so you guys can understand. I have been struggling with, I wouldn't even say struggling, but I'll get to that. I've been having tinnitus for the last 2 months. Tinnitus is when you hear a constant beeping sound in your ear that basically, you've experienced it happening like once briefly, when you hear like beep, but then it kind of fades away into the background. However, when you have tinnitus, it is constantly there. So I've been constantly hearing, I've been having tinnitus, which basically means that you constantly hear a beeping sound in your ear. Now, the interesting thing about this is because I have practiced exactly my recovery tools from my DPDR onto the tinnitus, I actually barely notice it anymore unless I'm actually listening to it or I'm actually like focusing on it, or when I go to sleep and it's extremely silent, then I'll hear it. But because the practice of acceptance is so ingrained in me and the practice of learning to reduce that hypervigilance is so in my second nature now, I actually don't hear the tinnitus anymore. Like 90% of the day, I don't hear it. And it's because I don't care about it being there, honestly. And so it's kind of like with your foot, right? If you don't care about your foot, you never notice your foot. If you don't care about your tinnitus, or in case if I don't care about my tinnitus, I never notice it. I'm never focused on it, which just comes to show that what you are actually experiencing doesn't come from what is there often, but from how much we focus on it and how much we're resisting it. Therefore, how much our brain creates this hypervigilance on this thing. And it's super interesting to me. Honestly, I've been kind of enjoying this experience just because I feel like it really proves how much the methods that I've learned over the years in studying DPDR or studying anxiety, working with people one-on-one, how much it actually helps. And so I guess I'll kind of explain the story a little bit. So 2 months ago, I was sitting at the table, I was eating my lunch, and suddenly it just came on. And I used to have a friend that struggled with tinnitus. And when I say struggled, I mean they struggled. It was like taking over the life. They were so depressed by it. They were barely sleeping. When they were falling asleep, they needed so much sound to cover up the beeping sound but they could still hear it, and so they just could not fall asleep. And I always felt so sorry for them because I thought, oh my God, that must be so terrible to go through that. But what I realized was the reason why it probably was so loud for them and so disturbing for them was because they had this thought in their mind that said, I cannot be at peace with this beeping sound. And because I truly believe that peace comes from accepting life the way it is and not from changing life so that you can accept it, the first thought that entered my mind when this tinnitus came on was like, all right, bring on the challenge. This is another challenge for me to learn to detach my peace from my external circumstances. So basically what happened was to put it as simply as possible, I do not care about the fact that this sound is here. Literally, I do not care. If someone would tell me you have it the rest of your life, I'd be, all right, I'd be fine with it. Honestly, I would not care because it is something that, first of all, it's out of my control. So there is literally no point in me resisting it, getting frustrated about it, me fighting it. Because if it is outside of my control, then nothing I will do will change it. That's the first thing. The second thing is because of the practice of mindfulness, and what mindfulness has truly taught me is that we judge things as good or bad, not because of what they truly are in nature or in essence, but because of just what we get influenced by. So, for example, if this friend said tinnitus is horrible and I accepted that belief, then my tinnitus would probably be horrible to me because I would judge it as terrible. I would judge it as intrusive to my inner peace. Therefore, I would constantly give my brain the instruction to try to fix it, which is why it would just be so much worse and so much more intense. So because of the practice of mindfulness, I now also have realized that tinnitus isn't necessarily bad. It's only bad when you don't want it to be there. It's only bad when you judge it as bad. It's only bad when you think you cannot be at peace with it. But what these last 2 months have taught me is if you truly surrender to something and say it is what it is, and you try and neutrally perceive this thing without the judgment you have around it, kind of like the neutrality you have of your foot, then actually any problem in life can get so much smaller just because we stop noticing it, because we stop focusing on it. And it's almost like my tinnitus has disappeared to the background so much just because it's become so neutralized to me that, like I said, I only ever notice it if I truly actually focus on it and look for it, or if I'm sleeping at night and it's completely quiet, and because it's quiet, that sound just comes out a little bit more. But even then, it's like it's there, but I don't even notice it that much because I don't care. So it's super interesting how there's this relationship between caring about something and something being so much stronger, which is why when it comes to the DPDR recovery process, what I most often tell people if they're struggling to actually find peace with something or accept it is to try to just care less about it, which is more an attitude of, how do we call it? Like, I like to call it the fuck it attitude of like just choosing not to care so much about something, which again might be easier said than done. But honestly, 5 years ago, if I would have had tinnitus, I would have gone absolutely mad. I would have gone to see 6 doctors by now. I would have been listening to music constantly just to not have to hear it, because in my mind I thought this is gonna make me mad, this is gonna drive me crazy, this has to go away. If this does not go away, I'm never gonna be at peace again. And what I truly realized is just because I chose not to care and I chose to say, well, if this is what it is, then first of all, I can't change it. So why would I what's the point in panicking about it or resisting it anyways? There's literally no point. So why would I put myself through that? Secondly, just the confidence and certainty of a mindfulness practice and what it can bring you in terms of neutralizing your experience around certain things. Just like you've neutralized your foot, you can neutralize your DPDR, you can neutralize tinnitus, and that actually stops that hypervigilance going and actually makes it disappear. And also just seeing it as another challenge that life offers you that you can overcome, that you're strong enough to deal with. It just truly brought me a lot of peace actually over the last couple of months. And like I said, if someone would now tell me I would have it forever, I honestly wouldn't care. Just like if someone would tell me I would have DPDR again, I honestly wouldn't care. I would think, all right, it is what it is. I know that my inner peace does not have to be dependent on what I visually experience, on what I auditorily experience, sometimes even what I emotionally experience. Because even in the presence of anxiety in my chest or anxiety in my stomach, I can still find a sense of peace amongst it, which is what I feel happiness truly is happiness is not about always everything being perfect and always everything being at peace, but it means learning that it's okay for things to be as they are and that you have the power within you to actually accept it. So I hope that this story kind of gives you some motivation in terms of dealing with what you're currently dealing with. Maybe some people that have tinnitus can actually gain something from this too, because 1 in 5 people I think actually has it, so, or has it once in their life. And yeah, it's just been honestly a good experience for me, and I've been really wanting to share it with you, but I was also like, I don't know how long this is going to stay or not. I would say that it's 90% gone now, but it's here. Like now, if I am focusing on it, I can still hear it, but I don't notice it 90% of the time because, like I said, I'm not focused on it anymore, which is great. But even if it was there, I wouldn't care. So it's a it's a good example of kind of having a little metaphor to use in your own DPDR journey, I think. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you are willing to explore some of these mindfulness tips and tools that I've been talking about throughout this video, always feel free to check out my DPDR recovery course. It's in a temporary discount as well, so you can still benefit from that if you want. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video next week. So I hope everyone has a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!